Hello viewer, thank you for joining me today. I'm Dave, the Fugly Vapor, as you can see. Today we want to take a look at that. It's the Haze tank dripper, or dripper tank, call it what you will. It's a dripper with a small tank on. At the moment, as you can see, I've got a... Can you see? Come on camera, focus. Not a chance. Yep. So I've got a dual vertical build on it. So what I'll do, I'll have a final vape on this, then I'll take it to bits, attempt to recoil it again on camera and re-wick it, have a vape on it, talk about it, give you my final thoughts, and then you can either try it if you think this might be a good idea, do it the way I do it or not, whichever. But we'll give it a go. So I'll see you down on the desk in a flash. See you down there. Right, so this is how it comes. You have to excuse the box. I've had this a while, but I've been asked to do a build on this for someone, or a couple of people actually. So this is the front of the box, and it says, when it focuses, it will say something or other. There you go. Efficient quality service. Nothing much apart from the QR code at the top there. Now I think this is probably made by Evogo, because it says Evogo there, Evogo there, RDA there, but Evogo there. And on the back, just so in case you don't know what it is, it's a rebuildable atomizer. So moving swiftly on, there's the boy. In the box we have a bit of string. We've got a couple of coils made out of whatever, so they're not going to get used in a hurry, if ever. A little blue screwdriver in case you haven't got enough, and a piece of string, or should I say silica. But yeah, so that's the spares, or the extras, for want of a better phrase. On to the real deal. So this is the Haze dripper. As you can see, if this bloody camera decides to stop playing silly buggers, right, if you can see, there's this one air slot on this, and it do said Haze on the bottom, just in case we've forgotten where we are. Come on camera, for God's sake. Right, Haze. Let's try and get some manual focus on here to actually see something. So yeah, it says Haze. Some other stuff that I can't read because I'm blind. That I'm not sure. This is actually a clone. Surprise, surprise, for those of you who know me. On the bottom, while we're there, it says VHO. Yeah, VHO. What that means, I have no idea. The 510 pin. Wait a second. Isn't adjustable. Let's get some. I'll get some focus back in this thing. So comes with that drip tip. Straightforward, simple. Nothing magic about it. It's a drip tip. Just wipe my hands a second, because I have been using it, as you saw in the intro. And that's the deck. Those little juice holes there, rather nice, till you start filling the holes full of coils, but hey. yeah, the post holes, I'll just give you some specs. The post holes are actually just a little bit under 1.5 mil, so you know, between 1.3 and 1.5 millimeters. That tank, surprised me when I checked, because I was asked to check, it actually holds the best part of 3 mils of e-liquid. Now, you may look at that and think, how the hell do I coil that? Well, the nice bit is, you take that piece off there, and then, as you can see, he says, wiping his hands quickly, then, as you can see, you can just go straight through, put your wire through, do what you've got to do, and then what I tend to do with this is coil it, trim the, coil it and trim the leads off the back there, and then once I've got the wicks in, and I'll get to that when I show you, I'll fill from here. Just put the bottle in there and fill from one of these two until the tank is full and I've got some juice on the wicks, and then we're good to go. But I'll show you that when we get to the coily bits. Putting this thing back on, I don't know if I can get the camera to focus on it. Give me a second. Yeah, just there, focus. Just there is a lip, just a little bit of a lip, which is going to fit onto there. You'll see it when you've got it in your hand. It's much easier to see than it is on camera, but that's, and then that fits on there because you've only got the one air slot. You've got the air in here, and that just blocks that off from the other side. So I will now put this on a mod. I have made the coils ready. There's a good reason for that. It takes me a while with my old arthritic fingers to make coils and stuff. So I'm going to take that off again. And I'll show you the coils, because this was when I first coiled this was what actually made me realise why there's two holes in the Coil Master, why there's two holes in this Coil Master jiggy thing in the top there. I just thought you had a choice, but I've always wound my coils in that fashion, wind the tool away from me, which is what I call a right hand or a clockwise wind. But with this, you have to do one that way and put the wire in that hole through there and wind it that way, and then the second one you have to put in that hole, the opposite hole. I could find the bloody thing. Yeah, there, and wind it that way, clockwise towards you if you like. So if you normally wind like I do away, that's one coil, and then for the other coil you have to go that way or they won't fit, or they won't fit. It's a faff. If you do it that way, you end up with two coils that look like, move that out there for a second, two coils that look, try and put them down so you can see them, find a colour that's, yeah, okay, Right, let me just zoom into that if I can. Right. Okay. That one will have been wound away from you. One will have been wound towards you. If that all makes sense or complete nonsense, you'll understand when I actually coil it, why it's done that way, or why I do it that way. You may have different ideas. You may want to just do them the way you've always done them. But I do know that trying to get two on wound the same way is a lot more difficult than doing it one right-handed and one left-handed, as I call it. So let's crack on with sticking these coils on. When you actually offer the coils up to the deck, it becomes obvious which one goes where. That leg is obviously lower down than that one. That was at the bottom, that was at the top. So looking at this, and one's on the right, one's on the left, so it becomes pretty obvious that the higher one on the left and the lower one on the right go into the right hand once you've undone the holes. Stupid boy pike. I knew attempting to coil this on camera was going to be a bad idea, but I'm doing it primarily because I haven't done it before, and my mate Ash asked me about it, and I have been asked by a couple of people on the website to do a coil job. So yeah, that one goes in there and in there like so. Then you take your windy tool, stick it in the coil, put it down the hole for a bit, and that holds it more or less in place. So you can just start the screws off. If you need to. So one there, one there. Put him there. And then get t'other coil, which is obviously in t'other orientation. Bottom one on the left, lower down. Top one on the right, higher up. So it all makes perfect sense. So then we get your little jiggy tooly thing, stick it in the hole, start the screw off. That's more or less where you want it. Hold it in place, screw it up. Now it's got to go in a little bit. In a little bit fugly because it's too close to the edge. Okay. And I like to use twisted wire, particularly for this one, but generally. But the twisted wire is good on this one because of the way I actually wick it, which is again just the way I do it, but it works for me. So. Like everybody else, we've all got our own ways of doing what we do to get the vapes when we want it. And this is just my way. So I'll tidy it up in a second, but there we go. We have the same two vertical coils. This camera is crap today. The same two vertical coils we had when we started. Okay, they need to be tweaked a little bit, but that's where we are with them. Yes, I will obviously cut the leads off and tidy them up. So I'll crack on with that. So, coiled, trimmed. Just going to get them set now. Switch it out to the MPV4S. Changing in the temperature of things. 0.28 on that. That's not too bad. Not too bad at all. I thought this was going to be hard when I first had it, looking at it, but once I'd worked out that having a right hand and a left hand, which you can see better probably from there, one goes that way around and one goes that way around, if that makes any kind of sense to you at all. You'll see it there. So if you wound them both the same way, that leg that's going in there would be over this side. Should be twisting wires around. It just makes life easier to wind it one way and one the other. It's just the way I found it works for me. So now we'll wick it, put some juice on it. And then have a vape, and then there we go, that'll be done. Let that cool down for a second. I'm going to use some of my Pico juice. I'm going to be reviewing those very soon. So it's warm, but what I will do, I'm just going to pause this, let it cool down, and we'll come back and wick it. Be right back. Right, so took the wicks off, cleaned it all out and stuff, and tweaked it up. Got a bit of cotton, about yay. I cut it about a width and a half of the coil, of a coil. Because the way I do it, as you'll see, is just different my way. Take that outer piece off, as you do with most coils, or all coils, whichever way you do them. Take that piece off, and if you're feeling brave, and there's a piece on the other side that's not quite as pronounced, but I'm going to go for it. Why not? It's not quite as obvious, but it's there. I just think it helps the cotton absorb, and I put them into the coil, get me little twiddly tweezy jobbies, and push him down. In fact, I'll use the ceramic tweezers. And the good thing about these coils, these twisted coils, you haven't got to push your foot about too much with it. You can actually shove the cotton into the coil, and I'll just make sure it's in the hole. It's not going to just lay itself on the deck, and then just poke it in to the tank. There's maybe some of you out there looking at this thinking, are you crazy, Fugly? What the hell are you doing? But yeah, maybe I am crazy, but it works, as you'll see in a minute when we go back up. That's actually just inside. There we go. That is now, if you can see that, well, you can actually see, I can get it on the camera for you. The cotton is just there. There it is. Oh. So that's one coil wicked. What I do now is lay that on there, lay that down there, and approximately cut it off to there, which is about where the bit was pinched up. So that's that. And now I'm gonna, because I've got one of those fingers that can't roll things very easy, I'm gonna pinch him up, put him in there, and then push him down into the coil, into the tank, into the coil. Stupid board pike. Making sure that it goes down the hole and not just flat on the desk, on the deck. That's the thing I was getting stuck on early on when I started doing this. I was pushing it through the coil, thinking I was getting somewhere, and then I found out I got a load of cotton just on the deck, nowhere near the tank. So that is, I think, actually, yeah, it is. Sometimes if you take that piece off, you can actually see from this side where the legs are of the coil. This doesn't look pretty, it doesn't look clever, but it works. Just bear with me a second while I just go and find that piece of plastic that's shot across the room. I'll be right back. Right, sorry about that. So yeah, so we've got the cotton in to the tank, and we've got, yeah, I'm sure that'll do. So I'm just going to put some juice in these holes. Just bear with me a second, just put my eyes on so I can see what I'm doing. And I like to put a little bit of juice on the coil, or the coils should I say, and the cotton at the top there. Like any other build, if you juice up the coil, it just helps to think the wick. That's about full up. In fact, that's very full up. In fact, that's probably too full up. But yeah, it's cooking. So and then don't forget to put your piece on the back. In fact, I'm going to get a little bit of juice off there. He says, reaching for his syringe. You're just taking a little bit off, just so I can get this back on. It'll become obvious when you get the plastic which way around it goes, but once that's on there for topping up when you're dripping, you can just put your nozzle in there and fill it from there, should you recorded it. So yeah, that's it folks. That's that done. We'll go back up, I'll have a quick vape, and then give my final thoughts. So I'll see you up the top. Be right back. So there we have it, the Haze tank RDA. If you're still with me and you're probably thinking I'm completely crazy, what the hell was I doing with that wicking? I've tried using separate wicks, and I've tried that little crossover method, and this seems to work better because the juice obviously is sitting on the top of the two wicks at some point. So yeah, the proof, as they say, is in the pudding. So this is what it will do. Let me just get it. I'm going to stick it on 45 watts to start with, because it's 0.28 coil, and that's 3.4 volts. Oh, taste. This is definitely a taste machine. Let's stick it on shits and giggles, 30 watts, 2.79 volts. God, that beautiful juice. So yeah, you can, whatever your particular wattage is, I'm sure you'll find a spot that you can get what you want. Certainly taste, you'll get the taste for sure. It may not be the biggest cloud chucking machine in the world, but for me, it works fine, very well. 55 watts, 3.7 volts. Let's go up to 60 watts. Let's go 65. I went past 60. 65 watts, 4.1 volts. That's a little warm for me. However, that is the Evogo Haze dripper RDA tank from my, I think I got it from my EPAC. I'm pretty sure I did. I'll double check. Should have checked before I come on and did the video, but I'm almost certain it came from my EPAC. Up there, non-clickable link obviously, and then I'll put all the details, all the specs in the description. So if you've stuck with me through that and not written me off as a madman, thank you very much indeed for watching. If you've liked the video, leave me a like and subscribe would be great. So yeah, we'll call it a wrap on that one. Call it a wrap. I think I am Steven Spielberg. We'll call it quits on that one. So you have yourselves a damn good day. More importantly, have yourselves a damn good vape, and I will catch you guys on the next one.